So,
One
so
second.
can you see my screen?
I can see your screen.
Okay. So this is the application I worked on. It's the U.S. Fiscal Dashboard or the U.S. Fiscal Intelligence Terminal. And so it's a interactive website that takes complex government data and it turns it into more simple, understandable information for the everyday person.
All right. So more of a data analysis project.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the goal was to make macroeconomics more accessible. So to gap, raw government data with everyday citizens. So it's like a free and public tool that anyone can use to learn about the US economy. You don't need to log in or anything. It's just open and it has raw data from US Treasury figures, which can be hard to interpret because there's complexity. And if you're not professional, there's no real context for you to understand it. So our dashboard has clear and real-time human-centric fiscal insights.
Cool. Okay.
So there's a real-time debt ticker, which is connected to an API. So it continuously updates and it fetches database. The front end fetches database snapshot and load and uses a client-side loop. So from your own computer to simulate live debt accumulation. And it's snapshot based, which just means every time you reload the page, it'll change. So it's accurate for each session.
Okay.
Trillions of dollars can be pretty hard to comprehend. No one really has that amount. So the dashboard contextualizes those massive figures and breaks it down. So it shows you, like in the last slide, you can see it's small, but debt per citizen, you can see debt to GDP ratio. So these are KPIs, and it tells you, a person how much debt the average person has. So it's a more reasonable number.
Cool. Okay.
So dynamic fiscal charting, these are the graphs that represent revenue versus spending. So you can see here that on average, the amount of money the US government is gaining rather than spending, they're spending a lot more. So you can see that interpreted by different graphs.
All right.
You can also see a prediction. There is a 10-year projection, which is split up into 3 different aggressions, you could say. So there's conservative, moderate, and aggressive scenarios. So you can see based on the growth rate,
All right.
how
Okay. It says you said visualizations powered by time series machine learning model. Right. What is a time series machine learning model? What does that mean?
so time series machine learning model is pretty much based. So every year it exponentially grows by a certain amount. So based on the current amount that it has right now, which it's around like 37 trillion, every single year it predicts around how much
Once again, let me be a bit more clear, Jayden. What does the word time series and time series machine learning model mean here?
time series. I thought it was like you give it you give it a series of different, like, okay, if the time frame is in years, then every year it looks at like
You're
the
going the right track. Keep going.
like it okay, so since we're looking at years, a time series is pretty much based on a certain amount of time. Let's say the growth rate was like 3%, it'll predict the next 10.
Okay. Okay. Don't
Like,
overcomplicate time series machine learning models. They're very simple. But again, like a time series, right? It's best to read it backwards. It's a series of time steps. Does that make sense? That is the input.
oh,
So
like,
what that means is that saying like, okay, what is the depth in 2016? What is the depth in 2017, 18, 19, 20, right? So the input is a sequence of like depths, right? You get that?
yes,
Across a time period, right? So
okay.
So again,
Which
when your input is a sequence, it is a spread across time. That is a time series, right? It's a series of steps across time, right? So,
okay,
and then using again, it's not just using 2016 data to predict 2026 data, right? It's trying to predict, it's using the sequences of like, okay, how sequence of 2016, 2017, all the way to like 2026, and then using that to predict like what 2030 might look like, right? So that's what time series means here, right? So
so
this is machine learning model here, but what specific machine learning model are you using?
time series is
No,
that
it says time series, but like the machine learning model can be multiple things here, right? Are you using an RNN? Like, uh, did they mention it? A
RAG,
regression? Like, what are you
uh,
using?
augmented generation,
Augmented generation.
a rag model.
Oh, using a RAG model. Okay, sure
Yeah, a
thing.
rag model. So I'm sorry, I just want to go over it so I don't have
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
so time series. You're pretty much saying like, okay, it's over. I guess I was overcomplicating it, but okay, if it has 2026 data,
Hmm.
it's a series of time, which in my case is in years, and then every year it'll predict 2026, 2027, and it'll predict based off the last year, and it keeps doing
No,
that.
no, not just 1 year. That's the thing, right? Again, you can't just predict the 10 years out of 1 year, right? You need,
Okay.
if you're looking at like you're looking at GDP over the past like 10, 20 years, and you're seeing like, okay, this year it was this much, this year it was that much. And then over using the data across the 20 years, that then you can predict the next trend, right? Does that make sense? So
Okay.
you're taking a sequence of data that has input, right? Does that make sense to you, Jayden?
Yeah. So if it had, 10-year projection could be based off the last 10 years, and it would look at the last 10 years,
10 years,
26,
right? It's just
26.
every single year is one value, right? So it's a sequence of data across time, right?
I
So
see. I
yeah,
see.
got
Yeah.
it. Okay. That's important to understand that
But
concept, right?
explain that.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Right.
So I also added a AI agent to help answer questions. So as you can see, like I asked it,
Mhm.
what does the debt to GDP ratio mean? And it uses Gemini API to pull its answers from, and it can answer, questions that if you have a question about anything on my dashboard, you could ask it simple questions and it would be able
Got it.
to.
Ah, got it. It's fine. Just move on to the demonstration, please. Or do you have any more features?
After, you want me to demonstrate it now?
I mean, do you have any more features you want to present, or that's the demonstration now, right?
Um, can I present it after I finish the presentation?
I mean, okay, sure thing.
Or
Yes,
okay.
you don't have to understand.
Yeah, I just wanted to so this is just the architecture. So for the front end, I use HTML5, Tailwind, CSS, Python, PostgreSQL or Supabase to
1 second. What does async LLM ops mean in backend? See that?
large learning models.
I know large learning models. What does the async and ops mean?
Um the API knows the directions. Specifically what async LLM ops is defined as, not actually.
Like ops does not mean like ops as in like he's my op, right?
No, I think of
Something.
like DevOps, but
All right. Okay. But basically, like again, when you're writing this sort of stuff, right, people might ask you about it. So you have to
yeah,
know your presentation, right?
yeah.
So that is nothing crazy. Async stands for asynchronous, right? Basically, like you don't know when
Synchronization.
you like no, it's not synchronized to a time step, right? It can come whenever, right? Does that make sense? Like for example, like a user's input or like something like that. That's what it means by asynchronous, right? We're basing it off the user's time. It's basically random for us. So you have to be always ready for it. That's what asynchronous means. And op stands for operations. So
Yeah.
so basically like when you're talking about scalable systems, that's when you talk about how it works in scale, right? That's where the term ML ops comes in. And like ops just stand for making it operationally scalable. Okay? So like again, these sort of things you need to understand. Okay.
Okay.
Keep going.
Sorry, one question. You said the async is like asynchronization,
Yeah.
which just means that it's random and
No,
like,
it feels
oh,
random because like async these are a type of functions called async functions,
yeah,
which like for example like your chatbot, right? Like if
yeah,
it gets an input, it can get it at any time, right? Does that make sense? Because it
anywhere.
depends on the user, right? You don't know when the input is gonna come because it depends on the user. So like as soon as the user inputs it, that function gets called, right? So that's an async function because it's not synced to the rest of the system. It just whenever the user calls it, it can be like any random time it can call it. Like, it must be ready to be like, oh wait, I got a request, I need to work now. Right?
which is why it's asynchronization
It's
because it's
basically it's
random
async.
based
It's
off
not
what.
synced to the rest of the system, right? It's synced to only the user's input.
Okay, okay,
It's a bit confusing the name, but like yeah, it's fine.
okay.
All right. Next, Postgres SQL via Supabase. I think you know this one. Postgres SQL is just a type that. Can you explain the last one, AI layer?
AI layer like Google Gemini plus the RAG pipeline.
Yeah, exactly.
So Google Gemini SDK is the model, and then so I use the API from that, and then the RAG pipeline, it's pretty much so
What
the
does that RAG stand for then?
meant to generate the R is
It
I
stands
just
for retrieval or augmented
retrieval.
generation, right? Basically, like oh, again, I was saying you're augmenting the normal generation with retrieval. Basically, it's just saying like, okay, when you encounter this word, right, don't get confused by it. All it's saying is just like, hey man, before you generate some data, like look it up on Google. That's literally all it is. Like look it up in a database.
It
Like
retrieves
imagine if
it
I ask
from
you,
the
yeah,
database, retrieval.
retrieve it from a database and then make out your answer. Basically, if I ask you to like give me a question, like rather than just telling you to answer me as is with your knowledge, I'm asking you to like, hey man, look it up on Google and answer me,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's basically
Retrieval.
that, right?
Okay.
You're retrieving some data to augment the generated answer, right?
Yeah.
It's confusing sometimes, but let's like if you get the main concept, that's all it is, right?
I think I understand it. A retrieval, I couldn't remember retrieval for some reason, but it just retrieves information from a database and then
Hmm.
augment generation. It just changes it and then it
Yeah,
generates.
it's just looking. It's basically just looking up on Google and like modifying the
Yeah,
answer, right?
it modifies the answer. And then pipeline is just, I guess, the process it goes through in order to generate
Yeah,
its.
nice. Okay. Okay. We really don't have that much time, but can you
Oh,
quickly just show me the demonstration? Yes,
oh, sorry.
it's quick.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's
Um.
fine. No, don't worry too much. It's not a strict thing, but
Exactly.
like, just quickly show me it working.
Yeah. Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of was understood how it works with the screenshots, anyways. But like,
Yeah. Okay.
still, like, just
Yeah.
quickly just show me it. Don't explain anything. I know.
Okay.
Are you presenting your screen?
Yes, I had accidentally stopped presenting it. That's what had happened.
No, all I see is black. Actually, is the problem. I know
So
you're presenting, but like I can't see anything exactly.
yeah. Okay. Let me quickly fix this. I'm sorry. Okay, here. Presenting again now.
There you go. Nice. Okay. Okay. Fiscal velocity, debt to GDP ratio, average. Okay, just scroll down quickly. Right. This is the live nation
Yeah.
version. 10-year
Um,
projection.
of course, if I worked on it in the future, I'd want to add more like accessibility options and then like more things in general. But
Yeah. Like things like fiscal velocity, they sound like some fancy like corporate term, right? Like all average people will look at it, be like, what is fiscal velocity? I don't quite get it, right? So maybe something to make it more accessible, like okay, wait, this is how you can think of it or something like that. I'll
and
get
then
you.
like yeah, and then like also um if they didn't understand what fiscal loss is, I guess you could ask like the assistant.
I mean, you can, but like again, it's just like
Yeah. So it,
it's best
yeah,
if it's like clear up front, right? So you don't even
yeah,
have to ask.
yeah.
Right?
I could have like a small description just explaining what it means.
Cool.
Is that
Honestly, great job with this. Like, I feel like again, no, honestly, good, really good job. You're working with multiple APIs. You're dealing with like US like financial data. Like that stuff can be really boring. But like, I want this just be a bit more careful about like trying to explain it because
most
again explaining
I
the
want
stuff is
to
the main part here, right? Telling the story, like okay, data is just being presented here right now, but like what does this mean exactly, right? Like or like what does the national debt being this high really mean, right? Like there's a story here, right, about like okay, wait, most of our country's debt is stored in by outside powers due to the US petrol dollar, and like there's a whole history there, there's a whole story there,
yeah.
right? So maybe you can try to explore that, right? Try
In
to
terms of
teach
like the
people about
purpose
that,
of
right?
why I made it and like what matters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Again, remember the vision here is just that, right? To try to teach people. So like this is a great starting point, but like if you're working on this in the future, think about that, keep that in mind, right? Always just be like,
Yeah,
okay, I need to teach people. I want this to be as accessible as possible. Like this number doesn't mean anything unless they know about the history of like what the petrodollar was, how the US is the reserve currency of the world, like US dollar, right?
like
So like
why, yeah, like why 20 years ago it was so much lower, and like how
yeah,
in
exactly how like the oil market is tied to the petrodollar. That's why the now it's the US currency is the
yeah,
reserve. Again, you need to let there's a whole story there that needs to be taught, right? So like maybe you try to focus on that in the future.
like the purpose itself. Okay.
Purpose itself, it's about teaching, right? Like these numbers don't mean anything without the story behind them, right?
Yes. Okay.
So that's like honestly an integral part of this data like projection and telling story. It's just about telling stories with the data, right? Trying to figure out like what does these numbers mean in a human context. Okay. All
Yes.
right. Otherwise, great job. This is a great starting point for improving in the future.